Take off the foo-foo. Take off the cloud chase. Take off the Wi-Fi. Take off the money phone. Take off the car loan. Take off the flex and the white loss. Take off the weird ass jewelry. I'ma take good steps, then I'm taking off top off. Take off.
If you're currently suffering from a hardship or some sort of tragedy or an injury, perhaps mild depression, or going through some sort of anxiety, then this video is the video for you to watch. How's it going, guys? My name is Shay. I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I took that took me from this to this. Everything's going to be from my honest perspective, and it's going to be super dry, uncut, no filters involved, because I am currently still healing from this injury. So I'm telling you my perspective from everything that I went through so far. How did I go from not walking at all to not only walking, but back in shape, pretty much, for the most part? The one thing that helped me out the most was having a support system. That's right. My mom, my stepdad, my sister, my brother, and other family members stepped in when I was down to help me out. I could not walk at all, and my house has stairs. So I stayed with my mom for 2 months. She did everything for me. She made sure I had meals. She made sure I got my medicine. She made sure I got to doctor's appointments. And she just basically was my personal nurse. She took care of me until I was able to walk. And when you're at your lowest, it really is helpful that you can count on people to be there for you. So that was the first thing that really helped me. You know, another thing that helped me a ton was to relax for once and just recover. You know, I am a go, go, go type person. I never take the chance to rest and to sit. And with that came a lot of punishment, you know, punishment by the way of just burnout. I have burnt myself out a good 5 to 6 times during, you know, a 3 to 4 year span. And when I say burnout, I mean like to the point where I am just completely exhausted and things aren't moving, you know, upward, downward. I'm just stuck, you know, and frustrated. And I've done that a good 5, 6 times. Just go, 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 and never giving myself a chance to rest. And I believe I was on my way to another burnout when God finally sat me down. You know, when I injured myself, I couldn't do anything, you know, and it just gave me a chance to just kind of rest and recalibrate, you know, to be able to not have to worry about things getting done for, you know, a few months, because everything from, you know, my day-to-day responsibility here in this house, because that's another thing that I have to make sure gets done all the time and upkept. I didn't have to worry about that for a couple months because my parents were taking care of it, and my business practices, I just physically couldn't, you know. So that had to be left alone for a few months. And I think that really helped me in a good way, because it made me miss it. It made me get back to it in a major way. It made me get back to my creative side, and it made me not resent it, if that makes sense. You know, it had gotten to the point where I started to resent fitness. I quit prospecting people 2 months before I got hurt, meaning I quit like acquiring new people, and I quit doing like my lead generation strategies and all that stuff, because that just took a lot of energy, you know, and it got to the point where it just wasn't enjoyable anymore. And when you don't enjoy what you love to do, your passions, when it starts to turn into a job, it's no longer fun, you know. So 2 months before I got hurt, I decided to put the fitness business on hold and focus more on teaching, on like teaching other personal trainers to grow their business, because I, you know, discovered that I had a real gift at it. You know, I was really gifted at teaching others and explaining really complex ideas and dumbing it down to where it's digestible and very understandable. And I've gotten a lot of success from it. Like I've helped, over 150 trainers, make anywhere between $7,000 to $10,000 a month, and I did that, naturally. And it started to become something that I was really into, more so than the fitness, because I believe I just burnt myself out with the fitness. So I went all in on that 2 months before I got hurt. And I believe I was going to hit a breaking point with that as well if I kept going at it the way I was going at it. I get really obsessive when it comes to things that I'm passionate about, which is a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing, because when you're obsessive about something, you think about it nonstop, 24/7. And, the thoughts that I was having about it, when I was thinking about it 24/7 is, I gotta win. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And I never gave my mind a chance to rest. And, that's not necessarily a good thing, So I think just recovering, spending the time doing what I needed to do, which was sit on my behind and do nothing. Let all of the information that I was so obsessed with learning sink into my brain. Let it start to compute. It was always learn, 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 and I would pound these concepts into my head, and I would learn from this creator and this mentor and that mentor, this book, that book, to the point where it was like confusing, and here I am thinking I'm doing a good thing when I'm like causing more damage. So by me sitting there resting and not focusing on any of that, I was actually consuming content on the creative side, like how to tell a story, like storytelling and content creation and vlogging, learning something brand new. It wasn't until I focused my mind on other things, to where I can actually process all of that information that I have been intaking for months. And now, today, where I'm actually starting to get back on my feet and get back into the business. Like, my love for fitness is coming back. Now I'm ready to fire back up the fitness program again, which I have. Now I'm ready I've always been teaching, but now I'm more than ready to be at service to anyone who would need me to help them win on the coaching side. I just have this newfound or reignited sort of passion for these things now that I've just rested, and I believe that really helped me. I think that was God's way of helping me, get myself back on track. He had to sit me down for a little bit in order for me to see it, the bigger picture and to keep moving. So that was the second thing that really helped me. Another thing that kept me going, besides relaxing, besides my family's support, was to keep moving. What I mean by that is the injury that I sustained was an injury that will heal quicker as long as you keep moving. And what I mean by that is actually like moving around, getting up and moving around. So there was a lot of relaxing, don't get me wrong, a lot of elevation, a lot of laying down, a lot of sitting, but it was also equal parts standing and equal parts walking, one step at a time. I would walk, I was on a walker for a while, and I would use that as extra support to hold on to as I'm just standing. And I used to just, sit for a couple hours, and then I would stand for 15, 20 minutes, just stand in one place where I'm holding on to the walker or if I had to go to the restroom, or I had to, go grab something to eat, or go to the front door to answer the door if I was there by myself or whatnot. I had to get up often and either stand or walk. And, that walk eventually turned into what I have now, like a more stable walk. I can pretty much walk bearing my own weight down for the most part. I have a little bit of a limp left, but the limp was very prominent once I got off the walker, and then it slowly but surely started to get better and better and better because of what you see back here. Just workouts, upper body workouts. Now, mind you, I can't bear any weight on this leg. So most of my lower body workouts and my lower body movements are in the pool. I do pool workouts 4 to 5 times a week for 30 minutes each session. So I do my lower body in the pool, and then I do my upper body here in my home gym. And the combination of the two not only helped me get back in shape, as you see here, but it has helped me heal in record time. Like, a lot of people are like, God dang, how did you break your femur in May and you're already walking? I was on my feet walking without a walker like 7-8 weeks after I broke my femur. Like, unheard of. But that is because I kept moving and I kept positive spirits, and I was able to just do a little bit every day. Like, the little bit that I was doing every day added up. It started from me just sitting for a while and standing for 10 minutes. Then my stand got a little longer. I went from 10 minutes to 15 minutes. And then I went from 15 minutes to 20 minutes. And during that time when I was standing or walking, I would walk very short distances. I'm talking about like 10, 15 feet of a distance, and then I would stop, I would stand, I would either sit or I would walk back, like really, really short distances. And then over time, like I said, the distances got longer, the standing got longer, and then the walking started to progress and progress. So it helps when, my injury in this case, it helped that this injury wasn't like a traditional cast where my leg was stuck in place. This injury was a type of injury where I had to move around in order for it to heal. So that helped a lot. Get me out of my funk, get me out of my trauma, and get me out of this injury.
Take off your idols, take off the runway, take off the Cairo, take off the Sandro, pay 5 days stay, take up for the meal, hella follow. Take off the fuck flag, take off perception, take off the cop with the iPad, take off the
talk
take
to
off
me
the unshare,
about,
take off decisions, all that.
Your experience when you have a shortcoming. Like,
my experience when I have a shortcoming?
Yeah, your experience when you have a shortcoming. Like, as you know, I'm recovering from this injury. Of course, it was a shortcoming. I lost my independence for a while, and, I had to learn how to adapt to my new environment. And, now I'm literally trying to, recreate my reality. So, just talk to me about a time that you had to deal with something like that. Come back from a challenge or come back from, a shortcoming.
The most recent one that comes to mind, I guess, is that depression. I almost want to call it a phase, but just that area and center and time of my life where I was heavily dealing with postpartum depression. And it definitely made things so immensely difficult that weren't difficult before,
Yeah.
And the way that I really saw through that was honestly God. There really wasn't anything else that I feel like would have brought me through that shortcoming, or really any of my shortcomings, both past or present and in the future. Any type of obstacle or situation that I know is kind of requiring a transition or a change in life, you know, it truly is just leaning on God. That really is what helps me get through everything. Trying to speak as much life into myself as I can. That's definitely been a new practice. But definitely pushing God more than anything.
God.
And centering that around everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, your spiritual practices consist of what?
Definitely affirmations, for sure. That is one thing that I fully believe in, that I know has made huge, immense changes in my life. Let me see, what else? Spiritual practices. Really just living through love, honestly. That seems like, and that's such a wide and general statement, I feel like. But really just trying to live in the space of love over fear, and that is just anything that is considered negativity would be considered fear. It's an illusion, it's not real. The only thing that's real is love, and all of the forms of love that there is. And centering my whole just vision and thought or just mental state on that has, it's opened up doors immensely, especially mentally. Just starting my day with a prayer walk. I do that every single morning. I do not miss it. Yeah. And it's nothing but an I'm grateful session. That is truly the space where I am just expressing how immensely grateful I am for everything, whatever it is that's on my mind.
Yeah.
And those practices for sure, just the gratitude and affirmations.
Gratitude and affirmations.
That's number one for sure.
Yeah. You know, I found that helped in my situation as well. I just had an overwhelmingly sense of gratitude, like when I broke my femur, because I looked at things as, what it could have been a lot worse. You know? I've seen a lot of people, not come back from femur injuries. My brother being one of them. He had a femur injury back in the early 2000s that just went wrong. And he's been dealing with that ever since, to the point where he had to lose his leg over it. And I thank God every day that, my surgeries, both of my surgeries were successful.
Yeah.
And just being grateful for the ability to be able to walk again.
Mm-hmm. The bounce back game is crazy, if I'm gonna be honest. Like I couldn't imagine bouncing back as quickly as you have after breaking 2 femurs. 2, not 1, but 2. Yeah, I can't imagine that strength, honestly.
Yeah.
And it definitely could have been worse, for sure.
Could have been a lot worse. And, gratitude is one of those things that a lot of people overlook because, they're living in the present day of it and they don't realize it. It's kind of like oxygen. You don't even realize that you're in dire need of oxygen until there isn't anymore, and you have like 2 minutes to live. If God was to take away all the oxygen in the atmosphere, the entire human race would be dead in less than 120 seconds, less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And just being aware that we even have the luxury of having oxygen just reminds you of so many things that you do have in life, instead of focusing on the things that you don't have. If you aren't grateful with little, then you can't be trusted with a lot.
No, and you wouldn't honestly know what to do with it. And I think the most monumental change for me mentally was when I realized that I have everything that I need. Not only just being appreciative for the things that I do have, but realizing that I have everything I need to do whatever it is that God is calling me to do.
Yep.
And really ultimately giving myself the keys to sometimes the cage that we put ourselves in.
Yeah.
It's like we will put ourselves in these mental cages and tell ourselves through doubt or whatever our mind wants to tell us that this or that won't happen, or this needs to be in alignment first for this to happen. When in reality, you have everything that you need. And when you really do step into that space and into that knowing, like that belief and having full hope and faith in everything, it's almost like like you're wearing a bulletproof vest. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like nobody could really tell you
It's
anything at that
unstoppable,
point.
Yeah, because you just know that, you know, you're either going to obtain it or you have it already.
Exactly.
Take off your idols, take off the runway, take off the Cairo, take off the Sandro, pay 5 days stay, take off for the meal, hella follow. Take off the fuck flag, take off perception, take off the cop with the iPad, take off the allure, take off the unsure, take off decisions, I